So you want to make a nuclear bomb? At home? I don't care if you want to play Fallout in real life or just cause massive chaos for fun. I'm going to teach you in this video how you can make it totally from scratch so you can pursue your goal. But first, we need to talk about how these things even work. As you can see on the screen, a nuclear bomb consists mainly of three components. Two subcritical pieces of uranium-235, a conventional explosive like dynamite or C4, and a casing for our mechanism. Pretty simple for a device that can kill millions in a blink of an eye. Of course there are other designs, but we are going to stick only to this one because it's the simplest out there. But how does it work, you ask? It's fairly simple. To detonate a nuclear bomb, you need to detonate our conventional explosive first. After that, our first piece of uranium is launched right to the second piece, just like in pistol. When both of them connect, they create one piece that has a critical mass, and it's not really stable, to put it lightly. That means that the uranium in our bomb is going to start a fission chain reaction and explode. Okay, but what the hell is fission chain reaction? It means that if one uranium atom gets hit with a neutron from another uranium atom decaying, it would convert to uranium-236. But as you can see, this isotope of uranium doesn't feel too good. It's going to decay into one barium atom, one kryptonium atom, and 3 neutrons, creating huge amounts of energy in the process. Then, these 3 neutrons will hit another uranium, causing the chain reaction. This nuclear decay creates immense energy with it. In fact, only about 1 kilogram of the uranium out of 64 kilograms decayed in the little boy bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima. Yet it still obliterated the whole city. Okay, so now we know how it's made. We only need to gather our components and start the building. For our little project, we are going to build a nuclear bomb that we covered earlier. Little boy that was dropped on Hiroshima. We could build something more powerful, but since it's only a tutorial, we are going to build something easy for the first time. Also, I need to mention that I forgot about some other parts of our bomb, but I don't really care about it. Just do some work yourself. With that being said, let's start to gather our ingredients. Let's start with the toughest one on the list, uranium. But not just any ordinary uranium that you can find in your yard. We need weapon-grade uranium, consisting of at least 85% uranium-235. However, we'll focus on obtaining uranium ore first, and worry about refining it to weapon grade later. The primary mineral considered uranium ore is uraninite, although there are other minerals that contain uranium. For simplicity, we'll concentrate solely on uraninite as it's the most abundant and easiest to work with. Here are the regions where uraninite can be found worldwide. Canada, predominantly in the Athabasca Basin in Saskatchewan. Australia, mainly in South Australia and the Northern Territory. United States, primarily in Wyoming, New Mexico, Utah, and Arizona. Kazakhstan, located in the southern part of the country. Namibia, mainly in the Namib Desert region. Niger, in the northern regions of the country. Considering that we are in US, we would want to go to the states that we covered earlier, but FBI would probably come to our door the next day, so we'll go somewhere else. Canada is the closest to us, but the most uranium is in Kazakhstan, and since we are really dedicated to our project, we will fly there. So now we're in Kazakhstan with our pickaxe. But how much rocks do we need to even collect? Let's do some calculations. Considering that 1 kilogram of freshly mined uranium ore has purity of 80%, and 1 kilogram of pure uranium metal that we make from this mineral has around 0.72% of uranium-235, and that for our bomb we need around 64 kilograms of weapon-grade uranium with at least 85% of uranium-235 in it. We need to mine around 9.5 tons of uranium ore. But considering any losses during the refining process, we need to mine 10 tons, or 20,000 pounds. That's a lot of rocks. I hope that you took a tent and some food for our trip because you'll need to mine for around 2 weeks to gather the amount of ore that you need.
2 weeks later.
Alright, so you've mined 20,000 pounds of uranium. Now comes the crucial decision. How are you going to transport it back to the US? In my humble opinion, a boat would be the safest bet. But hey, That's not really my problem, is it? I'm just here to teach you how to build a nuclear bomb, not evade federal forces with 20,000 pounds of uranium strapped to your back. Fast forward to your yard in the US. Now what? Well, now we need to refine it. So strap on your gloves and hazmat suit because it's chemistry time. First things first, we need to crush our uranium ore into a fine powder for easier reaction. Now let's treat our uranium ore with some hydrofluoric acid. We can procure some from India with a concentration of 40%, so we'll need around 1.8 tons of hydrofluoric acid if my calculations are correct. After pouring our hydrofluoric acid onto our uranium powder, we should end up with something resembling this. The dark green color indicates that our uranium oxide has transformed into uranium tetrafluoride. Now, let's decant this dark green liquid because the bottom of the container will likely be filled with impurities. Next step, evaporate all the water from our liquid to obtain uranium tetrafluoride in powder form. After that, we need to convert our uranium tetrafluoride to uranium hexafluoride. To do this, we'll react it with pure fluorine. According to these calculations, we'll need 10 tons of fluorine. If everything went according to plan, we should end up with a white powder that is mostly uranium hexafluoride. Now, we can begin refining our uranium to weapon-grade quality. Here's the deal. If you heat uranium hexafluoride to around 70 degrees Celsius, it will sublime to gas. And since we know that uranium hexafluoride containing uranium-238 is slightly heavier than uranium hexafluoride with uranium-235, we can spin a mixture of these gases in thousands of gas centrifuges. The lighter particles will stay at the center of our centrifuge, while the heavier particles will tend to accumulate further from the center. It's a painstaking process, but it's possible to do. Now that we've collected our weapon-grade radioactive gas, we need to convert it to pure uranium metal. In order to do that, we'll react it with sodium metal. Sodium will snatch fluorine atoms from uranium hexafluoride, leaving us with pure weapon-grade uranium metal. Finally, after countless hours of work and probably a few close calls with cancer and radiation sickness, we've gathered our weapon-grade uranium. Now, let's move on to the next ingredient. Gathering dynamite will be easier than obtaining uranium. We simply need to extract nitroglycerin from our grandpa's heart medication and mix it with diatomaceous earth, which you can easily purchase online. Mix them in a ratio of 25% nitroglycerin to 75% diatomaceous earth. Make about half a kilogram of it. For the casing, use titanium metal and fashion it into a cylinder hollowed from the inside with a thickness of around 5 centimeters. You can get creative here. Use a time detonator or set up a tripwire to trigger the bomb when someone trips over it. Sky's the limit. And there you have it, your own weapon of mass destruction. Thanks for spending your time watching this video. I may have made up some numbers during the chemistry stuff, but I was too lazy to calculate it myself. If you enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribed and hit the like button. Until next time, take care.